let's talk about that season that no one really wants to talk about, the waiting season. And that is a season where you're putting in the work, you're doing everything right, but despite all of those things, you're not seeing the results. You start to feel frustrated and you begin to question yourself. You start to think to yourself, what's the point? Maybe it's not for me. Maybe I'm not good enough. But let's try to reframe our mind. Rather than it being a waiting season, we're going to call it a quiet season. You might not be seeing results, but that result is going to come soon, and you just have to ride it out through the storm. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how to stay motivated even when you are not seeing results. My name is Annie, and welcome to the Elevation Edit. So I've got my tea here, my hot drink. I am really ready to talk about this topic. This is a topic that I have been thinking about talking about for a while. It's not easy to stay motivated at all, especially when you're not seeing results. And I wanted to really talk about that and go into the depths of why that might be and the things that you could do to retrain your mind and shift your mindset into one that is staying productive and keeping on track, even when you don't feel like it. It is completely normal to feel discouraged when you're not seeing results. Maybe you've been applying to hundreds of jobs and you keep getting rejection after rejection. You will get to a point where maybe you just think, okay, I'm just going to leave it. It's not for me. Maybe this is where I'm supposed to be. There are so many situations where you can feel demotivated and not want to continue based on the results that you're seeing in that moment in time. We're human. We seek validation. It's just part of human nature. We want to see proof that the things we are doing is working. That's how our brains are wired. There's actually a psychological reason for this. Your brain releases a chemical called dopamine, the motivation chemical. And when you are rewarded, that chemical is released. So you feel good in that moment and it keeps up your motivation. But what happens when there is no reward? Your brain starts to withdraw that chemical. And that's why the early parts of any journey feels so difficult. Your fitness journey, a business, personal growth, it feels so hard. You're working so hard, but you're not seeing the payoff yet. It's not because you failed, it's because your brain needs a new reason to keep going. So rather than focusing on the results, try to focus on your identity. So thinking about, who am I going to become through this process? Who will I be at the end of this journey? Because when you tie your motivation to the person that you're becoming, rather than just the temporary emotion of feeling motivated, you will stay consistent, because as you go through that journey, you're going to see the changes in who you are as a person. And that is just a part of life. We evolve, we change as we go through, and that should be our motivation. The changes that we see within ourselves. So instead of saying, I want to be successful, reframe your mind and shift the mindset to, I want to become the type of woman who shows up even when no one is watching. Really have to learn to love the process. There is a process to these things. You will not just wake up after a week of starting a new journey, trying to achieve a new goal, and then suddenly you've seen the results. It could take years. And you have to really come to terms with that if you start something new, it could take years before you see the results. So if it's going to take years before you see the results, what is going to keep you motivated during that time? You have to learn to love the process, or what you'll find is you'll be starting new things constantly, and then you're never finishing what you started because you're losing motivation. You're not able to keep up with it because it becomes boring. And just on that note of boring, success is just boring consistency. That's all it is. People who are successful, they were consistent. It might be that you have a fitness goal. You want to become a healthier version of yourself. Now, the consistency part is the boring part. There might be days where you come home from work and you don't necessarily want to go to the gym. But if you don't go, you are doing yourself a disservice. So staying consistent is actually part of the journey. It's not going to be easy all the time. It's not necessarily going to be fun, but if you keep consistent at something, you will start to see results no matter how long it takes. Here's something that really works for me. When I'm starting something, when I'm trying to build something new, I will create micro wins. Your brain needs little wins. You recall earlier on in the video, I spoke about dopamine and how dopamine is released when we are rewarded. So that is a part of it, and creating those micro wins will help your brain to release that dopamine that will help you stay motivated. So the key is to break down the big goals into small steps. A lot of us spend our time comparing our lives to people on the internet who we don't know. We don't know anything about them. They might have their own problems, their own issues, whatever it is. Their lives might truly be amazing, but the internet is a facade, and the things that we see on the internet, it's not always as it seems. As they say, not all that glitters is gold. So when you're comparing your life to somebody else's, it's very important that you protect your mental environment, people you follow, the content you watch. And when you start to be very intentional of those things, you will also notice your energy shift. You will realize that your confidence starts to build because you're not constantly comparing yourself to somebody else. You start to focus on your own self and your own progress. So if you truly want to become a more motivated person, take the time to declutter. Declutter your social media. Declutter your environment, your space. So before I wrap up this video, we've really talked about this and gone into a lot of detail. I want you to just remember this. Just because you're not seeing the results doesn't mean that nothing is happening. A lot of the work that we do, the results are in the background. We're not necessarily seeing it, and then it will come a point where it will almost immediately flourish. If this resonated with you, I would truly appreciate if you would hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for making it to the end and watching my video. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.